Today is a very special day because we are driving fast wagons, my very favorite type of car. Sadly, Americans do not understand station wagons. They don't buy them. Instead, they buy big, fat, roly-poly SUVs. I cannot explain why. Fortunately for you, I have my formerly European, still British counterpart, Jethro Bobbington, to explain just how cool high-performance station wagons are.
But we can drive any car in the world. We're driving wagons?
Yeah, we're driving wagon.
Why wagons?
There's only one way to find out. Ladies, gentlemen, meet the fast wagon contenders. To my right, the mighty E63 S-Wagon from AMG. Under the hood, 603 horsepower, 627 pound-feet of torque, and yeah, it's got a drift mode. To my left, this blue beauty is
Johnny.
Yes, Jethro?
Have you driven this Ferrari 812 Superfast thing?
No, I haven't driven the Ferrari Superfast.
It looks awesome, and that versus like an Aventador S. Can you imagine?
Yeah, that would be a great episode in the future. For
that
today,
would be cool.
We're talking about the Porsche Panamera Turbo Sport Turismo. And that's Porsche speak for a Panamera wagon.
Johnny, have you driven that Aston Martin Vantage?
No, I've seen the Vantage. I haven't driven it yet.
That versus like an R8 RWS?
Yeah, that would be a great head-to-head
That would be awesome.
when we're not doing wagons.
Yeah, anyway, yeah.
Under its hood is also a 4-liter twin-turbo
Johnny,
V8.
when's that Corvette ZR1 coming out?
Well, you know, it just came out, but we're busy shooting wagons, aren't we?
Yeah, but that GT2 RS?
Yeah, I know. Yeah, we'll get to it. We'll get to it.
Imagine that one.
Come on, man.
Okay.
550 horsepower, 567 pound-feet of torque, permanent all-wheel drive.
How much power has that Bugatti Chiron got?
The Bugatti Chiron makes 1,500 horsepower, stamped right on the engine block.
1,500 horsepower. Imagine that, like Koenigsegg. That's a imagine that head to head.
Wagons. Today we're doing what? You know what? Here's the problem, Jethro. I think you don't get these because you haven't driven the best station wagon ever made. I happen to have it right over there. It's the Cadillac CTS-V wagon with a 6-speed manual. Come drive this thing.
Whatever.
Oh, man.
911T, that's pretty cool, that thing.
Shut up! Let's just do the wagon. I've long loved station wagons. In fact, my first car was a wagon. But I've never owned a wagon quite like this exact Cadillac. This here 6-speed manual CTS-V wagon was my Motor Trend long-term car 6 years ago. I put over 37,000 miles on it, doing stuff like filling it with $5,000 worth of beer from 5 different Midwestern states and then cannonballing back to LA. I even conned Cadillac to ship the car out to Germany so that racing legend Johnny O'Connell could try and set a station wagon lap record on the Nürburgring Nordschleife. I even got a few laps in myself. Later on, I tried to buy the thing from GM, but I was wrongly told it was destroyed in a flood. Then, years later, I get an email that asked, "Could it be I owned the car in your review?" Guess what? He did. Cadillac only made 5 2011 V-Wagon manuals in black diamond with yellow calipers and no sunroof. I'm still blown away. Flabbergasted, really. What are the odds?
Yeah, that's incredible.
You know?
So tell me what you love about it. Why is this your ultimate wagon or your ultimate car, maybe?
I love station wagons because they're practical, right? But I love fast cars because I love driving fast, and this melds them together, and then you throw the manual in there, and it's a rare beast. Like, how many 550 plus horsepower station wagons have a manual transmission? Under 500. They're all Cadillacs. You know, they're all from a few years ago. And I just, it does everything. It's like the ultimate Swiss Army knife.
Asking Johnny what he loves about the CTS-V wagon without a pillow and sleeping bag nearby is a dangerous game. I get where he's coming from though. Who needs SUVs when you can have a lower, lighter, just as practical and much cooler wagon? And this thing is fun. Kind of fun. better not criticise it.
Steering's quite slow. Like, it's crazy how things change.
Sure. But you hear that whine? And it goes.
Whoops, that was too much. Johnny will not hear it.
So for me, this is the car that when I close my eyes and think of driving, it's either that 2-3 upshift or that 3-2 downshift, you know, and just hammer on it. That's been the problem, is nothing lives up to this car. It's like, okay, yeah, they got maybe a little more power, they went all-wheel drive, or they did something, but it's like just not as good. So this is our bogey. Let's see what those two can do.
Let's see if the Germans can touch the ultimate US wagon.
Dude, it was great to catch up with my old caddy. I still maintain that nothing melts excitement, functionality, and killer looks so completely as ye old CTS-V wagon, especially with a manual. But maybe, just maybe, the Germans have evolved beyond what Cadillac was up to 8 years ago. I know I'm being ridiculous. Anyhow, let's see which giant German slots in right behind the Cadillac as the greatest wagon ever built. My money is on the Panamera because Porsche is just so damn dominant these days. I'll leave the drift mode AMG to Drift Boy. Right, so Porsche Panamera Sport Turismo. I've been waiting a very long time for this car. How is it? Well, 550 horsepower from a twin-turbo V8 in Sport Plus mode is pretty damn good, I gotta say. And for all the power and all the speed it's capable of, it's pretty reserved, especially compared to that unmuffled Cadillac.
This wagon, just that absolute sense of unhinged madness that AMG just do better than anyone else. If that Panamera is a bit buttoned down, a bit efficient, but not very exciting, this is the opposite. It's just a complete madman.
I was expecting, I don't know, maybe a bit more aggression, although, you know, I've driven the regular Panamera Turbo and it feels about the same. So, you know, faster than you can believe, but kind of mellow. So the good points are speed, pure unadulterated speed. If you're into this kind of thing, it stays completely flat through the corners. So it's pretty undramatic, kind of difficult to make a tire squeal. You can do it if you overcook it, but neutral car, I dig it, man. It's fun to drive. I guess maybe because of the Cadillac, I sort of want, you know, hair on fire. I sort of want some action and some drama.
A lot of that comes from the engine, which is just brilliant. The character that they've managed to get into a twin-turbo 4-litre V8 is unbelievable. It feels like a 9-litre normally aspirated V8 at low revs, and then it revs as well. So it's got the feel of a smaller race engine at the top end. Gearbox, we've got the 9-speed auto. It's a lot better than the old 6-speed or 7-speed. I don't know what it was because I never knew what gear it was in, and it was never in the gear I wanted it to be in. This is better, but it's still sometimes a bit lazy on upshifts. It doesn't give you the downshift you want. But I tell you what is fantastic. The chassis balance, the 4-wheel drive system. You know it's a big car, there's body roll, you need a bit more steering lock. You feel the weight load up on the outside front tyre, but then you just get on the throttle and it all goes back there. Instead of understeer, you get oversteer, and that's just such a cool feeling in a 4-wheel drive car to have such an adjustability.
This thing will just tear up any road and sort of like, you know, knock the dust off its shoulders and, you know, get back to business. It's not thrilling. It's capable. It reminds me sort of like a Nissan GTR with like 1,000 pounds bolted to it, because this thing does weigh slightly over 4,700 pounds, which is a lot of car. It's very heavy. It feels large because it is a big car. It's actually bigger than the E-Class it's going up against, but it's down on power, but you know, from behind the wheel, you don't really notice that.
Feel like you're sort of imparting what you want the car to do, and it does it. You're not just sitting back as an amazed passenger. you are the guy making the difference. And for a car with this much grip, this much performance, four-wheel drive, that's just brilliant. Not everything is good on this car. We've talked about the gearbox already, the brakes. These are carbon ceramic brakes, and they should give you so much confidence, and they give you none. You get really deep into them and they work, but the pedal is not consistent. So as they get hotter, the pedal goes away even more. Because there's not progression at the top of the pedal, you panic and you go too hard on the brakes, and then the car gets all loose and out of shape on you.
Down on power compared to the CTSV from 7 years ago. So a little bit more power would help. Again, everything's a numbers game, right? So in other words, like, oh, it only has 550. I'd like my car to have 580. But that's okay because the e-hybrid makes 680. The transmission, PDK, you know, Porsche has just mastered the dual clutch transmission. I haven't even tried the paddle shifts. I'm not going to. Why bother? You just don't need them. It's like having a second driver who's doing all the shifting for you. You know, hard on the brakes and it drops gears. It's vroom, vroom, you know. Brakes are really good too. Stout brakes, I mean, monster 10 piston calibers, huge 15+ inch carbon ceramics, and they work really well, and the whole car works really well. You just don't think about anything. Like, there's no body lean, there's no sound. It just goes down the road quickly. You know, a little bit of tire squeal here and there, a little bit of shake, but boy, this is an impressive car.
This is an animal, this car. It's just awesome. It has faults, but it has personality, it has character. It has a four-wheel drive system that lets you do what you want to do. And there's one thing this car has that the Porsche cannot hope to match, and that is the rear-wheel drive mode. We have drift mode. It's a stupid thing. And the four-wheel drive system in the sport mode is so good that I don't think you'd often use it. It's a hint of what AMG's personality is. They want you to enjoy yourself. They want to give you that option to have a 603 horsepower wagon that's rear-wheel drive. What a cool car.
The E63S is a deeply joyous thing. I've almost completely forgotten about the 812 Superfast, new Aston Martin Vantage, the Chiron and the ZR1. Almost. Anyway, these are two contrasting cars. Later, we swapped driver's seats and I couldn't believe the traction, body control and braking capability of the Panamera. It is simply outrageously capable, and the engine is sweet and revs like crazy. On the road, I think it would eat the Merc in terms of point-to-point pace if that's your thing. The AMG takes itself less seriously, but in terms of feel-good factor, it delivers every second that you're in it.
As you'd expect, we subjected each car to Motor Trend's full battery of performance tests. On the drag strip, Alf Autobach's Kitty Hauler edges out Leipzig's Grocery Getter. Both big fellas hit 60 miles an hour in 3 seconds flat. I'm just going to go ahead and repeat that to emphasize the ridiculousness. Both of these station wagons hit 60 miles an hour quicker than an Acura NSX or a Ferrari Enzo. The aforementioned ridiculousness continues with the quarter mile, where the Sport Turismo hammers out an 11.3 second run at 120.8 miles per hour. The E63 beats the Porsche, going 11.2 seconds at a crazy 125.1 miles per hour. You think that AMG V8's underrated? Hint, oh yes, yes it is. The story reverses on the figure 8, where the AMG manages a thunderous 24.1 second lap, great by any definition. However, the slightly heavier, less powerful Porsche manages a remarkable 23.8 second lap. That's the same lap time as a Corvette Stingray or a Cayman GTS. How does the Porsche do it? I'd guess brakes. The Porsche can stop from 60 miles an hour in 98 feet, compared to the AMG's 105 feet. Any guesses as to how these two will fare in Randy's hands at Big Willow?
So the Merc steals it by the slimmest of margins. Having said that, Randy loved the Porsche's damping control, braking consistency, traction and gearbox. For him, the Panamera was by far the more enjoyable car. As always, numbers only tell part of the story.
And now, the race that actually matters. On your mark, get set, go! And they're dead nuts even.
Exactly the same. But the real competition, it's got to be which of these two cars can swallow all of these camera cases.
That's what wagons are for. Whoa, whoa, Jethro, whoa, whoa, whoa. Come on, man, we're in our 40s, we got kids, you're jet lagged, I'm just kind of generally lazy. These guys just started shaving 2 months ago. They're young, they're strapping. Boys, come on, let's load these wagons. Numbers aren't everything, but it is stacking up well for the Mercedes-AMG. It holds 4 more camera cases than the Panamera.
I wonder how that Ferrari GT4C Lusso would do in this challenge. It's pretty big.
Once more, Jethro, please shut up. Let's focus on the head-to-head at hand.
So what have we learned? E63S is faster around a track.
Yes.
Faster in a straight line.
Yes.
It fits like an entire country's luggage in the back. It's huge.
Well, that's the crazy part, because the Porsche is actually larger, but this holds a lot more, like a lot more.
It's massive, it's amazing.
Now look, to be fair, I mean, the Porsche is just super fast, super refined, super sporty, great transmission, incredible brakes, but I just kind of like this one better, you know?
For me, the Porsche is like a lesson in perfection, but you just don't feel part of the process.
Yeah, I think it shows off the perils of perfection. You know, you have to like make it like this, like make it a little squirmy, make it a little kind of frightening to drive. And the other thing is, as a sedan, this car was very good, but it really comes alive as a wagon.
It's awesome. It does everything you want it to do, and some stuff that you don't want a wagon to do, but hell, it does it, so it's great.
And therefore, the winner of this head-to-head is this thing, the Mercedes-AMG E63S 4MATIC Plus wagon.
Undoubtedly the best wagon in the world.
Wow, except for that Cadillac.
Oh, mate, enough with the Cadillac.
That's really good.
Mercedes wins.
Cadillac's really good.
Oh, I'm in your shot again.